The night before the climb, the elder spoke low. Bring back what you see, and what you'll come to know. Visions are wild, they wander the plain, but meaning is tethered by the old tale's chain. Up on the ridge the wind took his sight, banners of cloud turned the black sky white. A white buffalo calf stepped out from the haze, its breath was the drumbeat of the people's days. He reached for the gift, but it faded like smoke, leaving only the hoofprint pressed in the yoke. No voice came to guide him, no song from the sky, only the cold and the question, why? When he returned, the council drew near, and the oldest woman spoke clear. You've seen what was given to the woman before, who brought us the pipe and the sacred law's core. Yet his brow stayed furrowed, the feeling unfit, for the calf he had seen had wandered, not sat. The tale was the frame, but the frame was too tight. Some part of the meaning had fled into night, so they told him, seek signs where the earth meets the air, and bind the old form to the year's living care. And with that, he set out for the place where clouds lean, toward the next of the forces the vision had seen. He came to the mesa where the dancers prepare, their bodies painted with the corn silk's care. The sequence was fixed, each step as of old, but the sky held omens the dancers must hold. The altar was dressed in the same four hues, the rattles and feathers in their ordered cues. A circle of motion that had never once failed, a river of form where the people sailed. Yet the corn was still green, the clouds not yet grown, and the wind spoke of dust in a tightening tone. The chief priest watched the hawk wheel slow, waiting for rain's word before they could go. He plucked a feather from the air's loose hand and cast it into the dust of the land. It spun and it settled to the westward gate. The rains would be late, the dance must wait. The brave saw the binding of time to the right, how form must bow to the year's shifting sight. But he still felt the weight of the calf in the mist and wondered how this thread and the first one twist. Form is the vessel, the year is the tide, elders the stars that show where to ride. The voice of the priest was the wind in the sage, and it carried him on to the next turning page. He walked to a hogan of juniper beams, where the old singer spoke in rivers and streams. Songs were the map, and the map was the cure, but how one would walk it was never sure. The singer's hand drew the sand in a line, marking the path of the sun's high spine. Walk here to be well, the elder said, the way of the people, the road of the red. Then he brushed the line, bent it like rain, the way bends in winter, in summer again. It is not just a road, but the breathing of years, the laughter of planting, the morning of spears. He realized the choice was the ear he would lend. Was this a command or the turn of a bend? One ear could obey and repeat what was told. The other could hear how the seasons unfold. The calf in the mist, the hawk in the air, the voice in the song, they were all of a pair. But rules and the flow had their own separate might, and he wrestled to see them as one in his sight. Then the elder's smile was the moon on the plain. Each force is a finger, but the hand is the same. Walk back to the hill where your vision began, and you'll know how the threads weave the robe of the land. He came to a clearing where fires burned low, and painted masks caught the embers' glow. Each mask was a clan, each clan was a name, yet the names held powers no mask could claim. The bear stood strong, healer and shield, guard of the woods, the first to the field. Its growl was the drum, its paw the decree, the keeper of safety for the people to be. The loon called out from the water's skin, voice like the dawn's first song breaking in. It held the council, it calmed the fight, binding the camp to the law of the night. The elders showed how bear and loon stand, back to back, claw and voice in hand. Strength without speech may bring only fear, and speech without strength may fade into air. He saw in the pairing the way of the land, two powers entwined in a single band. Yet he wondered if both could be held in one frame, or if choosing one would weaken the same. Find the middle where opposites meet, they told him. 4 winds to steady your feet. And they pointed him on toward the rising sun, where the circle of seasons would next be spun. He walked to a ring of stones in the sand, each set to a wind by an ancient hand. Above, the sun and moon kept their chase, casting twin shadows across the place. The sun blazed gold, the giver of might, and the moon poured silver into the night. 2 keepers of time in ceaseless flight, never together yet always in sight. The stones marked east for the birth of the flame, south for the youth in the height of its aim, west for the dusk when the fire sinks low, and north for the elder in winter's snow. Between them the crosswinds whispered their say, northeast the thaw of early spring day, southeast the bloom, southwest the yield, and northwest the rest when the harvest is sealed. He felt the pull of the sun's strong hand, and the moon's cool call from another land. The 4 and the 8 turned the circle round, yet the 2 in the sky held their own high ground. From the dance of the sky and the wheel of the earth, he was led to a lodge of fires and mirth. There the elders spoke of a circle of tales, a map of the heart on which all spirit sails. The lodge was filled with the smoke of pine, and the air was thick with the old design. Tales were carved in the beams above, each a warning, a lesson, or gift of love. They told him there were 64 doors, each a path on the spirit's shores. Not counted like beads, but kept in the mind, enough to hold all the shapes you'd find. Each tale could bend to the seeker's need, shifting its face while holding its seed, like a drum that changes with the hand's command, but keeps the same voice across the land. The tales were a wheel without loose end, where start was a stranger and finish a friend. The brave felt the pull of that turning ring, and wondered what song his own might sing. The wheel was complete, yet open to all. It gave him a place but no final call. He wrestled with how his vision would stay in a circle that rolled but never gave way. Follow the stars, the headman said, they hold the paths your elders tread. Above is the pattern, below is the trail, the same truth told in a different scale. He stepped from the lodge into frost and fire, where stars sang down in a crystal choir. The sky was a map, each spark in its place, a frozen river across night's face. The dipper poured north, the belt drew straight, the Pleiades gathered at winter's gate. Their dance was the law, no season could break. The form in the heavens the earth must take. The elders named each with a tale of man, of the lovers who parted, the thief who ran. Their lives were the lines between each flame, the same bright order in a human name. He came to a shrine of painted stone, where the altar was set in its shape alone. The colors, the feathers, the carved old wood, all stood as the ancestors said they should. 4 bowls of water faced the sky, and 4 stalks of corn stood tall and dry. No hand had moved them in many years, for form was the guard against all fears. Yet the air was cracked, the earth was bare, and clouds had fled from the mountain's stare. A drought's thin breath wove through the land, unanswered by the altar's stand. The keeper set paho sticks at the side, feathers of rainbirds, tokens of tide. A change in the form, yet not in the root, a bow to the drought, while the altar stood mute. He felt the tremor between stone and wind, the need to hold, the call to bend. One guards the past, one meets the now, and both must find the sacred bow. He took the paho in his own right hand, knowing small changes can shift the land, and he walked toward the fire's red glow, where stories themselves were learning to grow. In the lodge a storyteller's eyes burned bright, and shadows danced in the smoke's low light. The tale was the rabbit who tricked the bear, but the teller paused with a knowing stare. He changed the rabbit to possum instead. The bear still lost, the same line said. The moral bent, but the heart still beat, a near path taken on the same old street. Then the teller set the bear in the sea, and made the foe a gull set free. The place, the players, the stakes all spun, a different road though the race was run. He showed that tales are a woven braid, where close and far are both remade. Small changes sway, great changes sever, but all are bound in the songs forever. The brave thought back to the calf in the mist, to the hawk's flight and the drought's thin fist. How much could he change before it broke? The meaning that lay in the first gift's smoke. The circle is wide, and each place within has a truth inside. But see how the seats in the council are kept, for harmony there is a vow once wept. He entered a council where seats were set, each place a promise, each promise a net. The elders moved with a measured tone, and the fire in the center was never alone. The voice of the south spoke with the north, words and wisdom flowing forth. The east gave greeting, west gave song, and all the circle moved along. But one seat stood empty, the silence sharp, The drumbeat faltered, the voices warped. Without its keeper, the dance was lame. The wheel still turned, but not the same. An elder placed him in that space. Hold this post, keep the pace. Each seat's a star in the council sky. When one goes dark, the others sigh. He felt the weight of another's trust, the need to be steady, the duty just. But he longed for the road and the shifting quest, and wondered if stillness could serve the rest. You've seen how form and flow must grow. To bind them is the path ahead, where every seat is the world you've read. The canyon was alive with painted sound, 1,000 echoes rolling around. There Old Man danced with the otter's pride, laughing as fish slipped from its side. The crowd of spirits grinned in the shade at the cunning play the trickster made. But, deeper than just in the canyon's bend, a counterforce waited to weigh the end. Downstream, the beaver worked the dam, a silent wall where the waters swam. Its patient craft held the flood in place, a different answer to the trickster's chase. Old Man grinned, but his eyes grew slow watching the beaver's still hands grow. The one with wit and the one with will, they met in a silence the wind made still. The brave saw the story from two sharp sides, one a wave, the other the tides. Laughter was quick a fire to burn, but steady hands made the waters turn. Both alone could not hold the land, but braided together they made a stand. And so he learned in the canyon's glow that foresight must temper the wit we know. He came to a lodge where two fires burned, each in a circle the elders turned. One fire told of a feast well spread, of a hunter's luck and the game he led. The other told of the same sharp chase, but famine's shadow filled the space. The lines were alike in the start and tone, yet the end was a world the first had not known. The teller leaned close and with one small word rewove the path the hero stirred. The feast became hunger, the hunger a feast, simply by turning the choice at least. The bones of the tale were still the same, but the breath had shifted the spirit's aim. Like rivers split by a mountain's rise, the stories mirrored in different skies. The brave felt the craft in the teller's hand, how a single seed could sprout new land. He saw that the truth was not fixed tight, but grew with the soil and the season's light. Yet he wondered how much could change and still keep the heart of the lesson, the elder's will. And so he carried the question away toward the next camp in the break of day. A dry wash led him to a circle of stone, where a coyote played with a skull alone. It rolled the bone with a flick of paw, then bounded away without a flaw. The scene was small, the moment quick, a passing jest in the desert's trick. But the old man beside him shook his head. This too is part of the larger thread. He spoke of the coyote cycle's frame, of worlds undone and born again the same, how mischief's spark lit the night, and chaos cleared the way for light. The skull in the sand was the start of a fire that built the world from its own desire. The little act was the seed of all, a single note in the cycle's call. The seeker saw how the small could swell, how details drop could fill a well. The arc and the spark were of one kind, just scaled in the measure of heart and mind. And so he learned to hold both near, the grain and the field, the start and the year. For the smallest jest in the fox's den could shape the fate of women and men.